Did you ruin your credit and now you have a bunch of collections on your credit report and you just don't know what to do about them? You've probably heard it all over social media when people say, the debt collector bought it from ABC original creditor. You don't owe them anything. You don't have a contract with them. Well, on today's episode, I'm going to debunk that and I'm going to teach you how to navigate and figure out, is this a debt collector or is this a debt buyer? Because this is a huge difference and you need to understand what the difference is so you can know exactly how to navigate and how to deal with that collection item and get it off your credit report. Welcome back to the channel. I'm Mike the Credit Guy. I'm the owner and founder of Limitless Culture. We created the most advanced DIY credit management system in the industry. Our system allows you to take control of your credit, creating custom Metro 2 attack letters every single round, never using templates, for only $55.99 a month. Link is always going to be in the description. Now let's get into this video. This is the most boring part and we need to get it out of the way because nobody has ever explained to you the difference with a debt buyer and a debt collector. So a debt buyer purchases your debt for pennies on the dollar. Now, when they purchase that debt, they're purchasing the actual agreement, the contract, everything that started with your debt, as long as it's written into the agreement or the contract, which it 99.9% of the time it is. So let's just be honest about that. So that is a debt buyer. They do have the right to come after you and come after that money, and they do have the right to sue you because it is in your agreement. Now, a debt collector is somebody that is trying to collect on behalf of the original creditor. That could be a hospital, a doctor's office. It could be a credit card company. It can be a auto loan company. It could be a multitude of different things. And you need to understand which is one or the other. So if you see that Midland Credit, as an example, Midland Credit is one of the largest debt buyers in the United States. So they love to sue people. LVNV Funding, Portfolio Recoveries. These are all some of the largest debt buyers in the United States. They do, in fact, all love to sue. And people say, they can't sue me. Yes, they can sue you, unfortunately. So that's why it's important to understand, are they collecting on behalf of the creditor or are they actually the debt buyers that own the actual debt? Now, when they do purchase the debt and they are a debt buyer, there's something called a purchase agreement. Now, the biggest mistake that people make when they're trying to do validation, they're not requesting the actual original purchase agreement, because the purchase agreement is literally the agreement between the original creditor and the debt collector, showing that the debt collector / debt buyer is the owner of this debt and they do have the legal right to collect on it. That tells you the exact story because you need to know if they can legally collect on it and they do truly own it. So if the debt buyer truly owns it and they purchase the debt, then they purchase the original agreement. There is a clause in almost every single agreement. Now, I have seen that it's not in what we call credit union credit card agreements. Now, what we do see it in a lot is cell phone agreements, larger credit card agreements with larger banks. It is what we call an arbitration clause. Now, every single arbitration clause is going to be different, but if you decide that you want to enact the arbitration clause, a debt collector must abide by that if they truly do own the debt. Last part is the most important. Why does this all matter, you ask? Well, let me explain, ladies and gentlemen. Let's say, for instance, you've been disputing your little heart out and you feel like you're getting nowhere. This collection, maybe this charge off is not getting anywhere. So you need to negotiate with a debt collector or a debt buyer or the actual original creditor. So what you want to do is try to negotiate a pay for delete, right? Because you're at your wit's end and you're tired and you just want to get this over with. So you call the debt collector and you tell them, hey, Mr. Debt Collector, I want to see if you're willing to do a pay for delete. I'll pay you for this debt in exchange for your deletion. And then at your surprise, the debt collector says, no, we're not going to delete it, but we'll take the money. Understand that a debt collector or a debt buyer does not have to delete the item in exchange for payment. It is not required. So you don't want to go in there all huffing and puffing and all upset, thinking you're going to blow this guy's house down, because you're not. So you need to understand how to move properly if they won't delete. And this is where the arbitration can kick into play, because every arbitration clause is different. As an example, if you go into arbitration, you can try to negotiate some type of settlement for a less amount and deletion. Now, I'm not saying you're going to get the deletion, but if you do enact arbitration, you'll have a higher chance that you will not be sued, because once you enact arbitration per the clause, you cannot go into court. They cannot sue you, or you cannot sue them. And let's put up a couple of arbitration clauses up here on the screen so you can kind of see what I'm talking about. I literally did a very simple Google search. DirecTV service agreement, Verizon service agreement, and T-Mobile service agreement. And then if I wanted to look at a credit card agreement, I went to the CFPB website and I typed in CFPB credit card database. You can type that in Google and it'll pop up and you'll see the link, and then you can go see all the different types of credit card agreements that are available for your viewing. So let's put up DirecTV up here, because again, I see DirecTV a lot on credit reports for whatever reason. So most customer concerns can be resolved quickly to the customer satisfaction by calling our customer service department at blah, blah, blah. We all know that's not true. I've dealt with DirecTV before, and canceling is an absolute nightmare. And then proving that, guess what? I did turn in the equipment. Save your receipt, ladies and gentlemen. It's the most important thing, because they tried to get me and they did not succeed, because I had my receipt showing that they received all the equipment back and in return. So if they cannot resolve your issue once you file a complaint with them, then you do have the right to file arbitration. So we each agree to resolve those disputes through binding arbitration or small claims court instead of courts of general jurisdiction. This is a huge thing that people do not take advantage of. Small claims court and arbitration. Yes, sue them in small claims court if you know for a fact that they are violating the terms and conditions. They are charging you for something you don't own. They violated it and they're trying to say that you didn't return the equipment. Hit them where it hurts. Take them to small claims court, because no large company is going to want to see you in small claims court. It's really just that simple. But it's not to say that they will not show up, so just remember that. But what's really important to understand here is any arbitration under this agreement will take place on an individual basis. Class arbitrations and class actions are not permitted. So the moment you initiate arbitration, they cannot be a part of a class action, and you cannot be a part of a class action, and you cannot sue them in a court, and they cannot sue you in a court. So it's pushing that out of the court systems immediately. And this is exactly what the debt collector does not want you to know. They do not want you to know that there is an arbitration clause, because some debt collectors or debt buyers, which either it is, they may tell you that they're not going to delete the item. But if there is an actual arbitration clause, then they have to abide by that arbitration clause, because they're the owners of the debt, correct? So when they bought that debt, they bought the agreement that you agreed to along with it. Let's take a final look at this specific credit card agreement. I'm not going to say the actual credit card company's name, because you can see it at the very top, so you can see exactly who it is. But this specific credit card company has an arbitration clause inside of their actual agreement. This is a very large credit card company, and they will initiate lawsuits generally. So if you initiate arbitration, this is an opportunity for you to negotiate an actual deletion in exchange for payment. And if you do get sued, you do have the potential opportunity to initiate arbitration, pushing it out of the court system so you don't have a judgment put up against you. Now, so I wanted to give you an option here, because a lot of people say, well, what do you do once you've been disputing for so long? You have to make a serious decision trying to negotiate a pay for delete. But then if the actual debt collector doesn't want to delete, or the original creditor doesn't want to delete, what's your last option? In my opinion, it is arbitration. This is why arbitration is super powerful. Now, again, like I said, it doesn't guarantee that you're going to get it deleted, but you can get in there and negotiate that with an actual original creditor, or you can push the debt collector into arbitration because it's in your original agreement if it stands like that. Because at the end of the day, you can't keep spending money disputing and you're not getting anywhere. The road has to come to an end eventually. The problem in this credit repair industry is nobody has an end game. I'm gonna go ahead and say it. That's just a fact. Because people don't want to quit, and I get it, I understand. But at the same time, if you're not getting anywhere after 8 to 12 rounds, then what are you really continuing to dispute? What's going to be your outcome? There really isn't going to be a great one. So you need to end the road and take your losses and your wins as well as you can. But remember, everyone's credit profile is different. You cannot use the same thing for every single person. So someone that has 4 collections is not going to have the same experience as someone that has 40 collections. Yeah, that's right. It's possible. The most collections I've seen in 2023 was 98 collections on one credit profile. And that person had very unrealistic goals. He said, yeah, man, I got to get into this apartment, in 6 months. I'm like, bro, you spent your whole life destroying your credit profile, and now you want Jesus to show up. It doesn't work like that. So remember, set your goals properly and understand what you're up against. You need to come to reality. It's just that simple. But I hope you enjoyed this video. I wanted to give you some clarity and some different options when you're disputing and you're dealing with actual collections, because it's not an easy path. If there's anything specific you want me to talk about, drop it in the comment section, because it's all about you, our subscribers. We can't do it without you. And drop some emojis in there so we can get this video going, so more people can learn about these different options that they have instead of spinning their wheels and thinking that it has to go on forever, because it does not. So also, please make sure that you watch the next 2 videos because they are recommended by YouTube. And don't forget, subscribe to increase your credit score.